What is up, YouTubers and lovers of budget cars and bikes? Welcome back to another video for spring of 2020, and something very special. It has to be said, if you know anything about me and my kind of taste in bikes, you'll know that I've been looking to get hold of a GSX1400 for a very long time, and I finally managed to do it. I actually picked this up in around about November of 2019, so quite a few months back. It's mid-April now. So we're in the middle of this kind of coronavirus lockdown, as it were, all over the country, especially down here in Cornwall. And I've basically, since November, been slowly pooting along with this bike. I actually, if you've seen the video on the little smart car that I posted, I did a deal with the guy. I did mention in that video that I was going to do a deal with this guy on a bike that I really wanted. This is the bike. A young Polish guy who basically wanted a little car for his girlfriend. And he had this, he wasn't using it, middle of winter, etc, etc. So I did a deal with him. It was one of those kind of, you know, I couldn't pass it up kind of thing, because I've always wanted one of these bikes. Again, if you've seen my other videos, you'll know I've done a video on the XJR1300, the ZRX1200. Now we've got this one. So when it comes to these type of bikes, there's like the four horsemen of the apocalypse, as it were, in my opinion. All I need now is the CB1300 Honda, and I'll have had the four big muscle bikes that I've always wanted to try. But that's in the future for the CB. Let's talk about this beautiful Suzuki GSX1400. It's a 2001. With about 23,000 miles on it, which is incredibly low for one of these bikes, you know, because if you know anything about these big old Suzukis, they will go on for a very, very, very long time. They are kind of bulletproof mechanically. And this one is in shockingly good condition, considering the guy was a young guy. He obviously wasn't, I mean, when it comes to the demographic of buyers for this kind of bike, they tend to be my kind of age, 40 plus, who really appreciate this type of bike. There's no ABS, there's no traction control, none of that kind of nonsense. It's literally, you know, it's a geezer's bike, a man's bike in that respect. I do apologise if you're a female and you've got one of these, but you've got to kind of admit it is a bloke's bike in that respect. And I think I said that about the other two big muscle bikes I've had. And this guy was just a young guy who he probably got it cheap on a deal and just wanted to move it on, which is fine by me, you know. When it turned up, it had no MOT. It needed, and still does actually need, a new back tyre just there. Somebody's put on these ridiculous little indicators here, which personally, not my cup of tea. I do like the 7x5 number plate, because I would have put that on anyway. But these Beowulf exhausts, I mean, obviously we'll start it up in a minute, as long as I don't forget. We'll start this up in a minute, and you'll hear just how fruity these are. They are ridiculous. It did have a few little corrosion issues, as you always get with these bikes. On the XJR, they had it as well, just on the top of these engine knuckle things here. You get them in the fins here. You always get them the clutch covers, magneto covers, that kind of stuff. And probably the young guy, he decided to paint that one, and not very well. It looks like he used a brush with some hammerite or something. But again, I mean, it wouldn't take much really to take that cover off, get some paint stripper on there, polish it back. I've actually already, it needs it again now, because unfortunately when they start to go, you've got to keep on top of them. It needs polishing again, as does that. The forks have already been done. I've already done that. Is a little bit up here. I mean, you're going to see this on every one of these GSX1400s or bikes of this kind of era, the XJR, the ZRX, the CB, anything with this kind of, it's almost like a brushed aluminium-y type style on there. But you can polish them up to chrome, as you can see. I mean, I haven't done an amazing job, but I didn't spend an amazing amount of time doing it. It's got a little radiator cover there, which is always nice. But the funny thing is, these horns, they always rust as well, but these are actually in pretty good nick. I did the best I could with that cover as well, and I've tied it up again on these little knuckles here. But as you can see, the swinging arm is in good nick. We'll spin around here and have a little look at that if we can. That's in pretty good nick, and they tend to rust as well. The brake discs are all great. The other thing that I did notice as soon as the guy turned up was the brakes. It had no front brakes pretty much whatsoever. So last week I decided to do something that I've never done, and I took the calipers off, and all I was going to do was just change the pads. And then I noticed that the pistons inside the calipers were really badly stuck in there. I mean, like crazy stuck in there. So I thought, well, while they're off the bike, I'll give them a clean. And I got some brake cleaner, I got some new pads, and I pulled the pistons, and I gave them all a clean with brake cleaner inside and out, and I rebuilt them with the new pads, bled the brakes, perfect, absolutely perfect. Now stops on a dime. I know, before you get into it, I know I should have probably have replaced the seals, but they were in that good condition. and I didn't really have the money to do it, if I'm honest. If I was going to keep the bike long term, I would have got one of those rings and piston sets you can get off eBay. They're about 150 quid, and you can really rebuild these front calipers then with all new parts. I did spray them as well. I bought some hammerite, gold hammerite from eBay, which was about $11.95, and although they do look a bit grubby now, I think you'll agree. I mean, yeah, and I did the back one as well. I think you'll agree they look a lot better. What I've started to do, there you go. What I've started to do now is I've opened up an Instagram account, hashtag budget cars and bikes, budget bucket list, sorry, cars and bikes. So you'll see that Instagram link above in the main kind of banner photo for the site. If you go there, you'll see all the pictures of me taking them off, painting them, some comments, that kind of stuff. Because I've decided that obviously I can't cover everything in a video, so I've made the Instagram account just with pictures, obviously, a couple of little tiny snippet videos of what I'm up to as I do it. That way you can see the progress, as it were, because I did a few vans and I've done the videos, but I never really had a chance to show you guys what was happening, the progress, you know, in that respect. So I've decided to make the Instagram account, and there's loads of stuff on there now, and I'm updating it pretty much every day. So if you want to see the brake calipers apart and what I did, check that out. And again, on any other videos, if you want to see the progress reports, that kind of stuff, check out the Instagram, hashtag budget bucket list cars and bikes, link above somewhere, or I'll drop it in the description below. Going back to the brakes, when I did the rear ones, I obviously put new pads in there as well, and everything was fine, but I can't bleed them. And I've been onto the forum, and effectively, I don't know if you can see here, there's the original bleed nipple there, and there's another one just inside there, as you can see. I managed to bleed this one fine, but I can't get the air out of the inner one. Some people have said what you need to do is use the vacuum pump and then release the banjo bolt to get the air to that point, and then you do the inside one, then you do the outside one. That's the way to do it on these bikes, apparently. I don't have time to do that now, to be honest. And I had the rear tyre, because I bought the rear tyres in the back garden. There's a garage round the corner from me, lovely guy called Robin at the Checkered Flag. He was going to put the new tyre on, and I figured while the wheel was off from doing that, he could have bled the brakes. So, you know, why bother doing it yourself if you can get somebody who knows what they're doing to do it in that respect. But it's got new fluid, obviously, new pads back and front, and all the pistons have been cleaned up, all the seals have been cleaned up, so it does stop on a dime now, which is great because it's given me a lot of experience in the respect of, you know, I could do this again if I bought one of these or an older bike and it needed a little bit of work. I'm confident now in the respect that I could actually do it myself, which is invaluable. You know, I would have paid somebody 50 quid to come and tell me how to strip these calipers and how to fix them up and put new pads in. So great. I mean, it's a good experience, it's a good learning curve, and it doesn't cost much. The pads were 23 quid for the front and about 9 quid for the back. Happy days. Talking of polishing and trying to sand back all the crap that is on there, there are pictures of this wheel specifically on the Instagram account and how bad it was. What I did is I used 1200 wet and dry, 1200 grit wet and dry, and I sanded back all of this metalwork, and then I used a polishing bit on a drill, a cordless drill with some metal polish, and I spent about an hour on each wheel, and I think you'll agree they've come up really nice, especially this back one, because it gets less wear in the respect of road rash, but that's come up really nice. Personally, I think this is the only colour to have in one of these. I do apologise if you've got a black or a grey one. For me, it's got to be blue and white, and it's got to have white wheels. With that in mind, when I bought this, the wheels were almost black, covered in crap, and I thought, right, okay, I'm going to have to basically get these powder coated in white, and I fully intended on doing that. Then I started polishing and realising how nicely they come up, as you can see, and I bought some wheel decals, you know, the little trims that go all the way around in white, and I was going to put them on there. I haven't done it because I know some of you guys don't like wheel decals, and you kind of slated me for that in the past for putting them on, so I've left it as it should be. So let me know, would you have put the white decals on, or would you have got the wheels powder coated white? Do you think it looks okay as it is? I'm kind of in the middle. I think it looks fine personally. If I was going to keep it, again, as I said, I'd rebuild properly all the brakes with new pistons. I'd do the wheels, but it's not my forever bike. They never are they, really? Let's be honest. And back to corrosion issues. A very common issue on these is behind the downpipes. You'll see there, it's starting to rust. I think you can probably see it a little bit more on this side here, if we can get in there, you can just see now it's starting to corrode pretty badly in there. There's not much you can do about it. Once they go, but they are quite cheap to replace. You can actually get Delkovich downpipes as an upgrade, as it were, for 140 quid for a set. So it's not really a big deal. Again, if I was keeping it, I would definitely do that. If I was keeping it, I'd whip that cover off and I'd polish it back the way it should be. But I'm not, you know, and there's a couple of other little things which are unavoidable. Little scratch there. There's another one on the other side. Again, as I said, I don't like these indicators. I probably would have gone back to stock, front and back, because as you can see, they're not great, are they, really? And I've learned that lesson from having the other older bikes, you know, that I think they need to be more stock and more original than when you start messing about with them, because the guy that had this, I'll show you what he did. I mean, I like the bars, don't get me wrong, they're fine. He had some kind of weird mount stuck in here, which I took off, but I don't know if you can just see in there, just here, he had, I don't know if it's better that way or that way, but he had in here glued this weird thing, glued to the headlight, I kid you not, and bolted through 2 holes there. Again, I don't know if you can see, let's see if we can get that camera in a bit better. I do apologise if you can't see that. But he had it bolted in, this kind of arm that came up as a phone holder. But he's drilled through the headlight, actually into the headlight, and then glued it down. Bizarre. I've never seen anything like it. He also had a USB plug here. Massive great thing, the same size as this, which, again, had to go. There are, obviously, aftermarket levers here. They're not the bendable ones. They're just aftermarkets. They're fine. I was actually going to buy new wing mirrors because these were really badly corroded, but with a drill bit and a copper kind of wheel, as it were, I've managed to get these back looking in decent condition, I think. Not a great fan of the blue kind of bikini fairing personally, but some people like them. When I sold my SV650, I was going to remove the one off there, but the guy that bought it said, oh no, I really like that. Another lesson learned, you know, just because you don't like it doesn't mean that somebody else might not like it in that respect. One little quandary, it's got stainless steel hoses on the front brakes, but the normal hose on the rear. Yeah, I kind of get it, but I think if you're going to go to that kind of level, why wouldn't you do both? As I said, Beowulf exhaust, beautiful, beautiful, beautiful sound, in very, very good condition, apart from this little dink here, which, to be honest, I've never really worried about and never really noticed. Now, what does it ride like? To be honest, it rides very much like the ZRX and the XJR1300. It's a very imposing position to be on this bike. When you sit on this bike, it's, as I said, it's a bloke's bike, and you really feel like you've got something very, very, very special between your legs, to coin a phrase. And you feel imposing on it. You know, you pull up in traffic between a couple of cars, perhaps, if you can fit this big girl between 2 cars. You pull up in traffic and people look over and they're like, Jesus Christ, what is this huge thing next to me? You know, it's what I imagine it would be like riding a big Harley in that respect, because it does sound awesome. As I said, we'll start it up in a minute. It does sound awesome. So when you pull up between a couple of cars with that exhaust burbling on this huge monster of a bike, people look, you know, and you feel majestic almost. It's really, really easy to ride this bike, guys. I would say don't be intimidated by it. Don't ever feel that, you know, it's too much of a bike for you, because like most big bikes, once you're rolling, it's really flickable. It's really easy to ride. It doesn't feel that its weight, you know, because this is 200 plus kilos. But as you can see from that position, you know, it's a big, big girl of a bike. And I love that, to be honest. I loved it on the ZRX. I loved it on the XJR1300. I love it on this even more, because this is probably the bigger of the 4 big bikes, I think. Although I haven't tried the CB1300. Stand by and listen out for news on that. But this is the bigger out of the 3 that I've had, and it's my favourite. If I'm honest, this is the one that I liked most out of the 3 I've had. And that's why I'd like to try the CB1300, because I want to do a comparison on that. This isn't the most powerful, obviously. I mean, this isn't comparable with the XJR horsepower-wise and torque-wise. The ZRX is a bit more. I think it's about 20 horsepower more. But to be honest, I wouldn't buy a bike like this for speed. If you want a really fast bike, you'd probably buy an inline 4 Japanese 1000cc modern bike, wouldn't you? Because these aren't cheap. And we'll talk about prices in a minute, but they're not cheap, because the Generation 1, which is this one here, the 2001, and they go on upwards, they're really hard to find, the original ones. You can find plenty 2004, 2003, 2005, even up to 2007, I think it is. Plenty of those out there. But there's a lot of grey ones, black ones with black wheels, that kind of stuff. But to get a blue and white one with light wheels, I wouldn't say these were white, but they could be. But the blue and white ones with the white wheels are quite sought after. Pretty much the same as the Eddie Lawson colours on the ZRX, the SP colours on the XJ1300, and of course if you buy the CB1300 Honda, you need it in white and red. You know, it's got to be that, otherwise I don't see the point. But again, this is everything that I wanted it to be, apart from the white wheels, and I can live with that. I think, you know, it's not going to put me off too much, and it is such. It's like riding around on a 20 grand bike. You just feel quite special riding one of these. And as I said, very, very easy through traffic, great on B roads. It just, I mean, it's got so much low down power that when you want to get out of trouble, it just goes. It's blam, gone, you know. It's not going to win any speed records from a 0 to 60 in that respect, but you've always got that power in your right hand, you know, which is always lovely to have, especially on a big bike like this. You know, as I said, it's a 1.4 litre, which is bigger than the car I've got at the moment, which I think is awesome. On the motorway, it's okay actually, because it does actually have pretty good cushioning on the pegs here for your feet. I'm going to get some of those grip puppies and I'm going to put them on here, because you do feel it a bit through here, because it's just got the standard rubber on the accelerator and the other bar across there. I might even put on a better bar end weight here, because it does, as I said, it does vibrate a bit through your arms, through your fingers. But I've learnt from the other two that I've had like this that you can adjust that. You know, you can put some cushion, as I said, those grip puppies on here. That will help a lot. I've got a pair, a set rather, in the house, so you know they're only about a tenner. I'll whip those on, but through your feet, nothing. Through that seat, nothing. You know, you can ride this at motorway speeds for, you know, a good couple of hours, and you're not going to get off feeling all tingly and numb in that respect. So that's great. You know, it was far worse on the XJR1300, and it was a little bit worse on the ZRX. So quite frankly, out of the three I've had so far, I think this is the one I would buy another one of in that respect. I love the colour. I love the way it sounds. I love the way it rides. I love the way it's quite imposing on the road. You know, you feel majestic almost on it. You know, you plough through traffic and people get out your way. You know, it's great. As I said, I think it's probably like riding a big old Harley. We'll start it up and then you can have a little listen to these exhausts, because I often forget to do that, and I know it annoys you, and it bloody annoys me. So we'll have the sweeping dials, which for 2001, I didn't even think they'd done that then. Bear with me, because I will have to pull the clutch in, guys. There we go. I'll do a little walk around if you can still hear me, and then we'll have a quick blip of the throttle. As it says there, 22,852 miles, which is nothing for a bike of this age. Yes, pretty fruity, I think you'll agree. There were no baffles included with this sale, unfortunately. The guy didn't have them. I'm sure you could probably get hold of Beowulf via their website, and they will probably sell you a set. I like it. I mean, if you know me, I love my loud pipes anyway, and I love the fact it's got a twin exhaust. All these bikes, all these big old muscle bikes, they gotta have a twin exhaust. I cannot abide these guys that put 4-into-1s on these. I just don't get it. It just looks so much nicer, so much more like an 80s muscle bike with the twin exhaust. And it's a 1.4. Why do you need a 4-into-1? It looks so much better with a 4-into-2. But that's just my personal opinion. Anyway, do I like it? Yes, I love it. Is it better than the other two I've had? I don't know if I would say it's better than the two I've already had, i.e. the XJR and the ZRX, in the respect of riding, but I enjoy it more. I love the exhaust sound on it, but of course that can be achieved by putting another exhaust on the other two bikes. But I feel far more, you know, imposing, as it were, on this bike. It feels so huge. The other two are big bikes, don't get me wrong, but this just feels like a monster, you know. So if you're looking for a big old muscle bike that everyone's going to hear you coming and get out of your way, and you want a little bit of individuality, because there's not a huge amount of them out there on the road, especially not in blue and white, as I said, then this is the one to go for. But you know, I would suggest you don't go out and get a black one or a red one or a grey one, you know, because you'll probably always want the blue and the white, because that's the Suzuki colours. And it does look, it just stands out, doesn't it? You know, as I said, I'm not a great fan of that blue bikini fairing there, the cockpit fairing as it were, but I can live with it. I can see it's functional. I like the fact it's got the original mirrors, although they're not very good if I'm honest. I like the fact it's got the original seats. As I said, I would now, after learning some lessons, I would put the old number plate back on, the old indicators back on. The bars, nah, they're all right. I suppose I'd leave them. This needs replacing, if I'm honest, or respraying, because there are some marks in it. So, you know, I might look into that. But generally speaking, there's not much I'd change about this bike. Would I buy another one? Hell yes. I am going to have to sell this, unfortunately, because I've got 2 bikes here at the moment, and I just don't have the room for them. So, you know, one's got to go. And it's unfortunately got to be this one, because the other one, which is incredibly special, which obviously there's a review coming up on that. That one is... I won't tell you more about it. It's going to be a big surprise, basically. It's something that I've always wanted, and I think a biker of my kind of age, you've got to try one out and see what they're like. Back to this one, though. I've tried 3 of the 4 horsemen, as I say, of these bikes now, and I've got a very, very good idea of what's good and what's bad and what I like and what I don't like about them. But I wanted to share this one with you because I just think it's very, very special. I've really enjoyed owning it. I wish I could have ridden it more, but we are in lockdown here in Cornwall. As we are all around the country, and I've not had the chance really to get out and give this girl a really good going over in that respect. But I hope you enjoyed the video, and if you're looking for one of these, I hope the information I've given you has been somewhat helpful. Things to look out for: again, the corrosion on the downpipes, corrosion on the rear swing arm, the brakes. Check the brakes as well. Check for fork seals on the front forks; they are common to go on these as well. Apart from that, they're pretty bulletproof, if I'm honest. As long as it's been serviced. I mean, I gave this an oil and filter change and air filter change as soon as I got it, because it's cheap to do, and I did it. And I've serviced the brakes, and I've done nothing else, to be honest. And it looks and it sounds amazing. I think you'll agree. If you've got one and you've got any comments, anything you'd change, anything you think I shouldn't have done or should have done in that respect, just drop it in the comment section. If you haven't subscribed, then please do so, if this channel's of any interest to you. And look out for the Instagram account as well, because as I said, there's some photographs in there of all previous projects. I've only just started up the Instagram account, so there's not a great deal of content, but it'll give you an idea of what I'm doing as I'm doing it in that respect. And as I said, I hope you enjoyed the video. Any comments, stick it in the comments section, and look out for some more content in about 3 or 4 weeks. All right, guys, thanks for watching.